It is not home, unless there is a formal invitation. Part 1. This is a narrative regarding the 400 years of slavery African Americans have endured since the beginning of time. They were captured, incarcerated, and plunged into an era of subjugation and suppression. The pejorative laws of Jim Crow for 100 years and the Civil Acts rights of 1964 were only laws passed addressing racism and discrimination. Even after all these years have passed, since 1964, these laws never changed the attitudes and conduct of some people, as it is the people who are responsible for application and performance of these laws. In recent years, there has been diminished authority in enforcement and execution, causing a lack of interest of the effectiveness of these laws in many red states. The places we call home are again under duress, oppression, and domination, having many questioning their allegiance and commitment to the fidelity of this country. Your country of origin is your home, with people having the same or very similar physical features, using hair, size, skin color as an identifying characteristic, stating, from parallel physical aspects announcing these attributes, as being a member of this particular country or tribe. When seen or introduced, there is no language barrier or need to differentiate features. This person is acknowledged as an appendage and component of the group. Regardless of your unrelenting efforts, it is nearly impossible to make a city, town, state, or country your home if you're not wanted. Whereas it is your birthplace and your lineage, but did not originate from a credible identified location, and there are no reasons in having their treatment representing anything other than a part of the clan, and all treatment will resemble those prerequisites of membership. Government regulations are not needed in prescribing and outlining and social and economic programs for inclusion into society. When applying for higher education or employment, who you are and what you have accomplished will represent and be your presentation. Of course, all the usually advantages are there, based upon who you know and who knows you, providing assistance for college or employment, but certainly not your physical appearance, well, unless physical features of beauty is a hidden prerequisite. Your presence is treated with respect, veneration, and acceptance. You are just a good guy next door, down the street, across town, or moving from another state, where your accent or skin tones may be darker or lighter, but it is known and accepted, you are one of us. Progressive movement for employment is totally based upon skills, experience, work history, and education, for whatever position being applied, without racial prejudice or bias. These societies do not require socio-economic programs or equal opportunity requirements, nor policies supporting those actions. All are homogeneous, having equal value and citizenship, having the same ancestry, without needs for any government corrections for discrepancies in the marketplace due to discriminatory practices built into the economic system. Employment is based upon the required skills for the position, without a determining factor of ethnicity, as all are the same race or ethnicity. Your acceptance is guaranteed, unless there are personal issues involved in the decision, but certainly nothing regarding skin tones. Human judgmental characteristics are obviously present, but those are a part of every opportunity in every society, and giving bias would be hard to prove legally. These are the characteristics of most all countries, where there is one predominant ethnicity. However, in cases where a country has been occupied and ruled by another country, the ethnic majority has no rights, only those being given by the ruling authority. However, at present, there are no country being occupied and ruled by another country, with the exception of Russia and China. All the European occupying countries eventually left Africa, India, and Southeast Asia. Refugees do migrating from their home countries to another location, forcibly seeking a better life of more opportunities, escaping political and social oppression in hopes to be designated as a political refugee needing safe status immigration into another country. However, refugees are not demanding equal opportunity rights with the citizens of those countries, just a safe haven, a new home to thrive and succeed. In America, things are quite a different narrative. For over 400 years ago, Africans were forcibly taken as slaves from their homes of many countries on the Africa continent. They were beaten, abused, hung, slung, and made puns, with no rights nor freedom. In post-Jim Crow, life has marginally improved, but always kept odiously subdued, inchoate with abhorrence and detestation, keeping the African population in chaos and confusion. There has been sustainability through these abominations and atrocities, while enduring every form of human suffering and societal banishments from America in attempting this aphilous desolation of African Americans. Regardless, we have remained solvent, while agonizing through unendurable distress and anguish. Surviving but prevailing through the excruciating turmoil and turbulence of life in America, strength our resolve and tenacity. For all these years, this is the only place we have known as home, yet, just a physical dwelling place to lay your head for physical relief, but never the mental frustration and anger of enduring life in America. It has been a struggle of incessant pitfalls, difficulties, and impermeable strife just for acceptance and acknowledged from white America. Regardless, home is a place of rest, supposedly where the heart is, but home should be a place of reciprocal love, not animosity, aversion, and unethical treatment, driving, walking, and existing, while black. It required bills to be initiated and laws passed for voting, equal rights amendment just in an attempt in making the playing field level, initiating equal opportunity, but laws can only go so far and not really far enough, as people are a major factor in initiating change, which has to occur in their hearts and minds in making changes a success and palpable in our society. But when hate has made such inroads with acceptance from so many white Americans, instigating laws will not repel all the hostility, acrimony, and bitterness in this society. Some people have been responsive to positive change, while others only will always reject and dispute all changes regarding equal rights. It is a part of their heritage, spirit, and the essence of their being. Recently, with the Trump presidency, our society has regressed in this area of racial tolerance. White people now feel they can release those inner demons of racial hatred without paying a penalty. White people feel they can return to the days of the 50s and 60s, when racial hatred was the norm, where a majority white America felt every day was "kill a nigger day," with a portion of all echelons of society participating in their designated roles. We have returned to days of the callous behavior, when white people knew the court system was on their side with chances of them being prosecuted were slim and none. A black life did not have much meaning, it was just be another nigger erased from the community. Those days are back, with the help of the Trump reign as president. People have grown to know Trump and his policies, which is why the inclusion and insertion of the alt-white and extreme right-wing white groups have been incorporated into the Trump administration agenda and policies. Now, all of conservative white America knows they have a confidant in the White House, and they will take full advantage of the extreme racial policies, whether you are a police officer, military member, congressman, judicial official, or any part of the social fabric of this country wanting to turn back the racial clock to the days when only white was right. When there are feelings the law or the people enforcing the laws are supporting your actions, with the judicial and executive office are on the same page supporting identical beliefs of racial intolerance and legal lynching, certainly the days of actively exterminating black men and women is okay again. The good old days of lynching are definitely back. Whether you are a police officer, military member, congressman, judicial official, or any part of the social fabric of this country wanting to turn back the racial clock to the days when only white was right. When there are feelings the law or the people enforcing the laws are supporting your actions, with the judicial and executive office are on the same page supporting identical beliefs of racial intolerance and legal lynching, certainly the days of actively exterminating black men and women is okay again. The good old days of lynching are definitely back. Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City in 1995. These present-day extreme right-wing conservative groups have an identical agenda and connection to the same ideology of Ruby Ridge and the Branch Davidians. However, the Republican Party will never admit their right-wing conservatives' ideals influenced other white nationals, QAnon, Three Percenters, Proud Boys, Boogaloo Bois, Wolverine Watchmen, neo-Nazi and other militia groups exploding in America, partially due to the popularity of influential conservative Republican talk radio host. Beginning in the 1980s, touting, directly and indirectly political discourse. This hate is all connected from past to present. It has not relinquished its hold on the hearts and minds of the hate of America, but has created a movement of white nationalists of different names and similar agenda and ideologies, all supporting violence, hostility and carnage against government, Jews, African Americans, gay rights and any others not aligning with their beliefs, principles and philosophies. The Republicans are no longer the party of Lincoln but the party of Trump, which includes what was often called right-wing extremist, but now, they are no longer extremist but defined within the confines of just conservatives. This was almost the same America our slave ancestors faced 400 years ago, now, advancing 400 years to the present day, 2022, the same hate, violence, viciousness, savagery and brutality are on the rise, marching with new aggression of vehemency against African Americans from every echelon of society. The only positive thing is these white nationalists of hate are in the minority. There are more Americans on the conservative and liberal of our political sides. Understand African Americans and Jews are not the enemies of America but have been waiting for America to finally capture, engage and indemnify the truth, as it has been and will be all that matters, holding the key to our past, present and future progression. The truth has and always will be the only absolute, with all else being dependent upon its application and use. The truth has to be the foundation, substance and basis of which an organization, nation or individual at its core of existence. There has never been a country nor a person with only that essential expression of exhibiting and espousing the origin of its actuality and viability. However, there are many countries and people signifying or specifying to their constitution, formation or charter as their proclamations stipulating vows of their organization or government, which have never been fully engaged or absorbed into their society. These have been the continuous susceptible, combative and contentious environments we have endured through the existence of African American tenure in this nation. It has been an ordeal taking courage, resolution, endurance, and stamina to survive in the richest nation on the planet. Of course, the benefits thereof does not exist if your color, tone, and other physical features are not of the majority. We are a tough group of people, and there is a necessity to be virulent. In living through the turmoil, havoc, and instability we have been forced to endure with life in America. Unless you have been there, white America, your skip through dream world, is completely irreverent in comparison. The Black American experience is strictly for those with tolerance, resilience, and fortitude. Every day is a new saga in a renewed struggle of expected unacceptable variations designed in maintaining continuing systematic control, affirming and denying our lack of control within the system of controls and barriers. This is our home, the only home we have ever known, where all our heroes and warriors fought the good fight, seeking a way through the prevalent obstacles systemically placed, reinforcing the conditions restrictions, and provisions stipulating our constraints. Home is supposed to be enjoyable, serving as a refueling and reinvigoration's designed and sustaining for the next day, allowing the central nervous systems a release of tension, conflict, and hostilities. However, in the African American home, days of complete relaxation were few, opposed to white America homes, where struggles were only composed of the normal daily wriggles of life. Black Americans had those plus the battles of the abuses of his white overlords, unsuspecting racial terror, possible conflicts at any and every location, every action possibly expecting an unsuspected harsh, inhospitable, punitive reaction. This is the experience of living in white America, not knowing when you will face a moment of disturbance, disruption, or distraction, not just from the regular variants of life, but from those initiated based upon the tone of your skin only. This is a forever occurrence of frustration and intrusions, never knowing the time or place of these manifestations. Never can there be a time of total dependence upon your expectations, as you are fully aware of every significant expectation will need to be approved by the white man and his system, always having African Americans receiving the remnants and excesses of whatever is needed in your life for a little forward movement. These things are indicative of the circumstances of having America being home for African Americans. We have never enjoyed all the rights and privileges of being a citizen of this country. We were born here, but have always been treated as a corrupt, unscrupulous, deceitful alien from ruthless location no one wants to claim. It is you, America, confiscated us from the homeland of our ancestors, dehumanizing, brutalizing, and degrading us from the days our placement in chains and shackles, and there they have remained for over 400 years in torment, pain, and agony, never being released, permitting and sanctioning true freedom in our lives, enabling completion of our selected and appointed passage in this life mired in discrimination and injustice. These are not the characteristics of a home, motherland, a place of origin. Your home nation does not treat their descendants as beasts of the field, pigs in the mud, or a thorn in the foot. Citizens are an asset, not a liability, being used only for the benefit of white America. This is the end of part 1. It is not our home, without a formal invitation. If this has been informative and education, please press the like button and subscribe. We will continue with part 2.